Hey everybody, had a little bit of a break there where I couldn't make videos because I was on a field trip. I went to the Danish American Heritage Society conference in Schaumburg, Illinois with my dad. And that's when I normally do my video, and I couldn't. So I'm finding time right now to do it for you. I'm going to talk programming, and this is the program that I've been following. It's a loose guideline type of structure, but this is how it works. That's what I've been doing so far, and it's been working fairly well. I think I'm going to start tweaking it probably November, because we're only 30 weeks away from the competition. I'm still trying to gain as much as I can until probably January, maybe as late as February, depending. I'm still kind of leanish, pretty leanish, I'd say, leaner than I was hoping to be, because it's hard to eat as much food as I need to be eating. Don't get a lot of sympathy from people when I say that I'm having a hard time gaining weight. But hey, that's how it works when you're trying to put on muscle mass. Anyway, it's a 4-day program, and I'm alternating between muscle groups. So I hit major muscle groups twice a week. I really like these combinations. I like them, and they seem to work well and have worked well for me in the past. So I'll have a hamstring and shoulder focus day, like a lower body pulling, upper body pushing. Then I'll have a glute and lat day, so like lower body pushing exercises and upper body pulling, and then I'll repeat that. The second time through, I'll have a bit more of a chest focus in my upper body push, and then again with lats. They're in this order: hamstring, shoulders, glutes, lats, hamstring, chest, glutes, lats. It's random, it's a cycle. You can start anywhere and go through. But I know I get 4 workouts a week, typically, and I'll have done each of these days. So in the hamstring day, the main thing is the top 4 exercises. So I'll start with a machine hamstring curl or a Nordic hamstring curl, and pair that with a barbell overhead press. And then in the second pair, I'll do some sort of hamstring exercise, single leg deadlift or Romanian deadlift, and then an incline dumbbell chest press. So I went from shoulder to chest, but on the incline. When I'm done with those are kind of like the main things that I want to get done in my workout. I'll move over to single joint stuff. So I'll do some work for deltoids, and that could be like a lateral raise or a front raise. Normally I'm doing scaption raises because those feel good right now. And then some sort of tricep exercise. Sometimes, if I'm doing good for time, I'll do a hip adduction, so do some groin work. The second time I come through on the hamstring and chest, or hamstring and upper body push, we get a bit more chest focus. So I'll do Romanian deadlift or machine hamstring curl with a barbell chest press. And then if I didn't do Romanian deadlifts here, I'll do it here. If I did, then I maybe do a ball hamstring curl, that'd be a single leg hamstring curl. And then a high incline dumbbell press. So getting more towards shoulder, that more of an incline than a regular incline shoulder press. But so there's chest focus and kind of chest and kind of shoulder. Whereas here we have shoulder focus and then chestish. And then once my big compound movements are done, I'll do some kind of a chest fly. Dumbbells, machine, cable, whatever, and some sort of triceps exercise. What I'm doing here when I do the 2 different triceps exercises is I'll pick a different shoulder joint position. So it might be a pull down on one day, or press down, whatever you want to call that, but shoulders in a neutral position. And then the other day I might do like a lying skull crusher where I have some shoulder flexion. And then another day I might do like an overhead thing or with a cable, but where I'm in more shoulder flexion. So I'm hitting triceps and then being in different positions of shoulder positions. Where I had this more shoulder focus here, I'm doing deltoid work. Where I have this more chest focus, then I'm doing some sort of chest fly. For the glute lat days, one day I'll do a lunge or a squat, and pair that with a chin-up or pull-up, and then I'll do a hip thrust and some kind of a row. And that could be dumbbell row, wide grip, seated row, regular grip, seated row, something like that. Sometimes it's body weight row, bent over row. And then once my main compound stuff is done, I'll do like a leg extension for quadriceps and some kind of a biceps curl. On the other day, I'll pick the other exercise. So if I did a lunge, I'll do a squat. If I did a squat, I'll do a lunge. If this happens to be before a rest day, then sometimes I'll do a deadlift instead of a squat or lunge. And I pair that with whatever I didn't do last time. So if I did a chin up here, I'll do a pull up, or if I did a pull up, I'll do a chin up. Then I'll move on to a hip thrust and row again. And then get into hip abduction and some kind of biceps curl. If I have time, then I'll do a reverse fly or a face pull in addition, or swap it out with the hip abduction. So biceps curl always stays, and then what I do with it might change. Just like here, where I did the triceps in different shoulder positions, I'll do the same thing with biceps. So sometimes will be a biceps curl with my shoulder neutral. Sometimes it'll be like a preacher curl or a cable curl. And sometimes it'll be something with my shoulder and extension. So I can work biceps in different lengths of biceps because my shoulder's in a different position. What I normally do here in all of these is I'll try to combine single leg work and bilateral work in the same workout. So if I do a two-legged machine hamstring curl, then I'll do a one-leg deadlift. Or if I do a lunge, then I'll do a two-leg hip thrust. Whereas if I do a squat, I'll do the one-leg hip thrust. So I get single leg work and bilateral work at the same time. The other part that factors in here is that I'm doing a daily undulating periodization. So every workout for a muscle pair will be a different rep scheme, and I just roll through them. So I'm doing a high rep day where my goal is to accumulate a lot of volume. If you remember from before, or if you don't, volume is what we get when we take the weight that we move, multiplied by the number of reps, multiplied by the number of sets. We times all those things together and we get some number. So if I'm moving 100 pounds for 10 reps, that's 10 times 100, 1,000. If I do one set, I've done 1,000 pounds of volume. If I do two sets, I've done 2,000 pounds of volume. Three sets, 3,000 pounds of volume. So what I'm doing here is whatever weight that I'm using, I'm trying to get into the 15 to 20 rep range. And what I normally do is get out my calculator and figure out, let's say I got to 20 reps, I'll multiply my weight times 20 and see what that total is. If I want to go up in weight, where I'm going to end up with less reps, I have to make sure that that total is at least the same. Because the goal is to accumulate volume on this day. It's not to necessarily do heavier weight that makes me feel good. That's what I have the heavy day for. So sometimes I want to bump up the weight, but if I can't get to 17 or 18 reps with the new weight, when I plug that into my calculator and find out that the volume is less than if I had done 20 reps, then I have to stay at that 20 rep weight. So this workout is driven by volume. How much total pounds can I lift in a workout session? And it's really hard. I have this high rep, medium, heavy. This is relatively lighter weight compared to the medium and the heavy, but I don't want to call it lightweight because it's freaking hard. And lightweight sort of implies it's going to be easy. So I have the high rep day. Then I have a medium rep day where I'm in 8 to 12. And this is kind of like the real comfortable, nice workout where it feels hard, but it's not hard in an endurance way where I'm struggling to do all my reps and really forcing through. It's not hard in like, man, these things are hard to move because they're so heavy. It's just that sort of nice workout feeling pump that you get. And there's lots of leeway in here. I'm not super concerned about the volume. Just as long as I'm between 8 and 12 reps, I'm happy. And this is the type of workout that I like a lot because I can blast through them a little bit faster. It doesn't take as much time. And then I have a heavy day where I'm in low reps. And depending on the exercise, I'll go as low as 1 and as high as 6. So certain exercises I just feel more comfortable in the low rep or a little bit less comfortable in the low rep. Something like a single leg deadlift, I don't really do singles of that. My heavy day will probably get down into the 4 or 5. If I'm doing conventional deadlifts, then I feel better about doing singles. With heavy squats, I might work my way down into the 2 or 3 rep range, but I don't want to go down to 1 because I don't have a spotter and I don't want to leave the bar there. I would rather do my reps or feel good about doing my reps. So squats normally get down to 2 or 3. And every exercise has a difference that way of where I want to be in that heavy thing. But I roll through these 3 days. So the first time I'll do a hamstring and upper body push day, it'll be a high rep day. And then the next time I hit it, it'll be a medium rep day. And then the next time I hit hamstrings and upper body pushing, it'll be a heavy day. And then the next time will be the high rep day. And then the next time will be medium. And then the next time is heavy. So I just continue to alternate through these different loading patterns as I roll through my 4-day workout. I like working in this range. Volume is really good because it helps drive hypertrophy. One of the important mechanisms for hypertrophy, or things that drives hypertrophy, is volume. How much total weight do you have to move? What do your muscles have to be able to do? You'll get a little bit of hypertrophy from doing the heavy stuff, but the big thing is if I can get stronger, which is what happens when you work in the low rep range, then all my medium weights can go up. Because I can lift more weight, I can lift more weight here too. And I've also found that my high rep weights have gone up because I'm able to just handle more weight. So doing the heavy stuff allows me to accumulate more volume on my high rep days and even more volume on my medium rep days. Even though the goal of that is not necessarily volume, but because I work in the strength thing, I can do higher sub-maximal weight loads. So a different reason why I do those things, but I think altogether they're going to help me with hypertrophy. And the other thing is, I am in a bodybuilding show. Yes, so the goal is hypertrophy, but I still want to get stronger. And I still want to have fun working out. So I'm going to do the rep ranges differently because that's what makes, or one of the things that makes working out fun and enjoyable for me. So yes, the goal is to put on some muscle so that I can do okay on stage in a bodybuilding show. But at the same time, I'm still a somewhat normal person. And for me, what gets me into the gym and doing exercise is different rep ranges. And all the programming wouldn't make a difference if I wasn't adhering to the program in the first place and getting in and putting my time in the gym. So for me, adherence is highly affected by having these 3 different rep ranges. In addition to the physiological benefits, different rep ranges gets me in the gym. I don't remember when I started this. It was either the beginning of June, the beginning of July. But I've been doing this sort of format for a while and fairly satisfied with the type of results that I've been getting so far. The plan is to keep trying to build muscle until definitely January, and then it's a question of maybe end of January, beginning of February, depending on how much fat I've accumulated, I think, when I'm going to start cutting the calories back little by little. When I get into a caloric deficit, that pretty much shuts the door on putting on any more muscle. So I have to figure out how much muscle can I put on before I start cutting the calories back to maintenance and into a deficit. So if I'm thinking in my last, like if the show is in May, then definitely in April and May, and probably in March, I'll be cutting calories down so that I can get as lean as I feel comfortable or can get to. And maybe even in February, depending on how I look in February. So that leaves I'm halfway through October already. November, December, January, 3 months, maybe part of February and part of October, so 4 months to try to keep growing. So I'm gonna change this at some point, and it's just a matter of when do I do it. I would like to see arms come up and shoulders come up. And I mean, really, I'd also like to see chest come up and back come up and quads come up and glutes come up and hamstrings come up and calves come up. But at some point I might change this just a little bit to get a little bit more arms work. And that might be adding an extra day where I do just shoulders, biceps, and triceps. At some point, I should also put a little bit more direct core training work. So I get a decent amount of erector spinae work with the deadlifts and Romanian deadlifts. And I get some like rectus abdominis stabilization work in these different exercises, and obliques, especially when I'm doing like one leg hip thrusts and stuff to make sure I'm not rotating. That's partly glute driven, but it's also an anti-rotation component in general. But at some point, I probably want to work on the core muscles so that they are well developed when the body fat goes down and they're easy to see. But for now, and for the last couple months, this is what I'm doing, and I really like it. Hopefully that all makes sense to you. I sort of talk fast sometimes, or repeat myself when I get excited, and talking about exercise sometimes does that to me. But that's the programming. I'll update you when it changes. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.